So I already made installment 4 and 5, and I've got to redo them because I took too long. So I'm going to try talking less and saying more. So this is installment 4, and this is your introduction to the Navy in the Blue Jackets Manual, Centennial Edition. Welcome aboard. These words carry a world of significance. They mean that you have made one of the biggest decisions a young person can. You have volunteered to enlist in the United States Navy. By raising your right hand and taking the oath of enlistment, you have become a member of one of the most important military services in the world and joined one of the biggest businesses in the United States. Not only have you proved your understanding of citizenship by offering your services to your country, but you have also taken the first step towards an exciting and rewarding career. You notice they say that they're important to the entire world and that it's one of the biggest businesses in the United States. So number one, the Navy is all the way around the world. If they need an airplane to drop a strike or support some personnel or send some Navy SEALs in, the Navy is there all over the world. They keep shipping lanes free. Without the United States Navy and other countries' navies, pirates would be running rampant and taking over cruise ships and things like that. Also, yeah, business. Treat it like a business. You can't just go throwing away, billion-dollar airplanes or screwing up and costing your squadron or your ship a lot of money by making huge mistakes. They have budgets they have to follow just like any other business, okay? You are part of that budget. If you are not already familiar with the names like John Paul Jones, Stephen Decatur, Doris Miller, William F. Halsey, and Marvin Shields, you soon will be and will feel honored to be serving as they once did in the United States Navy. Today's Navy is a massive and complex organization, a far cry from the makeshift fleet that opposed the British in the Revolutionary War. Hundreds of ships, thousands of aircraft, hundreds of thousands of people, and an annual budget in the billions of dollars go together to make the U.S. Navy a powerful and important component of the American defense establishment, playing a vital role in maintaining our national security, protecting us against our enemies in time of war, and supporting our foreign policy in peacetime. Through its exercise of sea power, the Navy ensures freedom of the seas so that merchant ships can bring us the vital raw material we import from abroad, like petroleum, rubber, sugar, and aluminum. Sea power makes it possible for us to use the oceans when and where our national interests require it, and denies our enemies that same freedom. You are now part of all that, a vital part of it, for the ships and aircraft of the Navy are only as good as the people who operate them. It's very popular for the United States Navy to go to other parts of the world where they're having troubles, like off the coast of Somalia and stuff, and to take action against those who would do harm to people who just want to travel the seas. Your first enlistment, your induction to the Navy, probably started at your hometown recruiting station with interviews and processing conducted by a Navy recruiter. He or she was specially trained. That means trained to tell you exactly what you want to hear and feed you full of BS, but they got their job to do. They got their quotas. They are sales people, okay? He or she is specially trained to compare your desires and your qualifications with the needs of the Navy to establish the terms of your service. Your contract with the Navy is officially called an enlistment, but you'll sometimes hear it described as a hitch. It began when you took the oath of enlistment, and it will last from 2 to 6 years, depending upon the terms agreed upon by you and your recruiter. Now, remember, it says they're specially trained to compare your desires and qualifications with the needs of the Navy. So what I would say is most important is your desires take a part in it. So let's say you want to be stationed in Hawaii. That's the West Coast Navy. And so you may get stationed in San Diego or Whidbey Island, Washington. That's as close as you get. They're like, well, that's the western part of the hemisphere. There you go. And your qualifications. If you're really good at math, they may want to stick you in a nuke program when you wanted to go in to be a corpsman. And the Navy needs those nuke enlisted personnel positions filled first. So that's where they're going to try to send you. And they're going to try their damnedest to send you where the Navy needs you. Okay? At some times, and you got to sign on the contract saying that you have not been coerced in any way, you haven't been made any promises, yada, yada, yada. Because when it comes down to it, you decide what to sign and, what you agree to as far as what the Navy's offered you. So don't be one of those people that signs your contract, even though you were kind of bullied into it a little bit, pushed into it, I should say, and then cry about it later. Do not sign something you don't want to sign. Do not go in to do something you want to do. Look, if the Navy doesn't appreciate you, that you want to be a corpsman, and they're full of corpsmen, they don't need any corpsmen right now, go into another branch of service. Coast Guard has corpsmen, the Air Force has corpsmen, you know, they call them different things, medics, nurses, things like that. Naval Training Center, Great Lakes. All recruits begin their naval careers in what is officially called Recruit Training Command, or RTC, but is more traditionally referred to as boot camp. Although you may have relatives who once trained at boot camp in other parts of the country. Currently, the Navy is operating only one RTC located at the Naval Training Center, NTC, Great Lakes, Illinois. This 1,628-acre training facility on the shore of Lake Michigan, about 40 miles north of Chicago, has been training sailors since July of 1911. During World War II, nearly 1 million sailors were trained there. You and other recruits will make the transition from civilian to military life in the time you will spend at RTC. Nearly every minute of every day will be filled with military drills, physical training, hands-on experiences, and busy schedules of drills and classes on naval history, traditions, customs, operations, and regulations. At first, you'll probably find the transition challenging. You will have completely changed your environment, diet, sleep patterns, climate, clothes, and companions, but within a relatively short period, you will make the necessary adjustment and find a great deal of pride to replace your initial anxiety. And that's true. So this is the end of installment 4. We're 6.5 minutes in, and I'll start in installment 5 next. Don't forget, keep them happy.